So Bryan, working with Aonghus and being a director that comes from the acting background, was it easier for you to explore the subtext and the character within the boxer with an actor that you obviously have a very personal relationship with?
Yeah.
Or was there moments there where you're like, Aonghus?
There's always those moments.
It's interesting. It's a good question, I think, because one of the things, as Aonghus was saying, is that he assembled a fantastic team in terms of his boxing trainer, the writer, his own commitment and dedication as an actor. As he was saying, he's a different human being to who he was a year ago. It's really changed him and evolved him, and the play is doing that to him. So it's very interesting to be part of that, and I think it brought out in me definitely a challenge in myself to go, don't let him down now. You have to come up to the mark as well. And so, to be honest, though I would be nervous and petrified at home and preparing and going through the script and going through it, I do a ridiculous amount of preparation and work at home, climbing the walls and going mental, so that I can be very calm in the rehearsal room, so that I've done as much kind of work as I can, and then I come in. And I think the best natural resource when you're directing is the actor. You kind of ask them to do something, you give them gentle kind of guidelines, and they'll go and play. If they're good, they'll want to do stuff. They'll want to try stuff and do stuff. So Aonghus was really clear, I want to try this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And it was lovely to be able to kind of craft and mold them and go. And I think the advantage of being an actor, I suppose, is knowing what I like as an actor, or when is the director too much up in my space, or when are they asking things that are unactable. Like, you get a lot of directors who ask things like, I kind of want the fabric of the light to kind of do this for you, you know, and you're going, that's lovely, I can't act that, but I'll do something and hope it sticks, you know, and so on. But then again, you know, you've got people who do respond well to that. And so as far as Aonghus went, I made sure there were actable directions, and almost everything was a question, so that we could have a discussion rather than a direction, do this. It was a case of, I wonder why. And I think what was lovely about the writing was, this happens a lot, I think, with a new play, is once it's written, you can kind of get in touch with the writer and go, we're curious about this bit or that bit, would it be possible to change that like this or this? Because we almost go so far as to say, I think we've discovered you've made some mistake in your thing. And we discovered then, we actually went, do you know what, no, let's hang back and really get back into it and see if we missed something. And invariably we missed something. And actually the writing was fantastic, and we had to go, oh, that thing from 5 pages back is the answer, you know. So it was a lovely experience for me. And I think, as always, I'd be used to directing large groups of students, either groups of 12 or 15 adults, or 60 to 80 teenagers in a secondary school or something. So having one actor who was dying to do it and get stuck in was a privilege, because I had a ferocious amount of energy to give him on that, you know. But as I said, I learned as much from it, I got as much from it, and it was a beautiful learning experience all around. And we're still, it's nearly a year, we're still evolving it, we're still developing it, we're still having conversations about, God, that moment there, this, I never thought of that, you know. And I think that's the best way. I think as a work of art, you're constantly playing with it. It's never finished, it's abandoned, I suppose. You have that thing where you go, just get it up, you know. So we're very proud of it, and we're very, I think, protective of it. We've a chance now to take it around the country and to play at the theatre festival, and there's a temptation to dress it up a bit or to add more, do more, instead we're going, no, we have to leave it. The essence of the purity of what we've done has to be sustained and maintained. So it's been lovely finding that language, if that makes sense. The old theatre we had was a smaller space, we could use things like the back wall and stuff. The bigger theatres we can't. So how do we do that without compromising it, you know? So they're the next questions, and it's helping me, I think, evolve as a director, you know? An actor who directs occasionally as opposed to a director, you know? But it's been really enjoyable. Long may it continue.
Yes, indeed.
So Aonghus, getting into the ring as a boxer, how did one go about developing that character and preparing yourself?
At the risk of ruining the magic for everyone, when I originally pitched this story to Gavin Costick, who wrote it, I went in on one basis only, that there was one sport I refused to touch. I would do any sport except boxing. And the first words out of Gavin Costick's mouth were, right, if we're doing this story, we're doing it as a boxer. And I tried desperately to get him to change his mind, and he wouldn't. His own dad had been a fighter. And so once the decision was made, I said, right, okay. And there was one reason for me staying away from boxing, which is a very simple one. It is one sport you can't fake. You'll smell it in a second if someone doesn't know what they're at. And so I had to train as a fighter, and lived it properly. I mean, for the original run, did a full 3-month training camp of training 6 days a week, getting through 24 eggs a week, grilled chicken every day, grilled fish every day, getting punched in the head every day. And it was brutal, it was brutally punishing, it was really, really tough, because I presumed I was fit. I mean, I still play an awful lot of Gaelic football. There's a level of fitness there that I presumed I could take to it. but it is using your body in a totally different way, using totally different muscles. And it was hell for a long time, training with a brilliant guy called Cathal Redmond at Portmarnock Boxing Club, and also with Oisin Gale Force Fagan, who people would know from a lot of very high profile fights. He's pro. And it was an amazing, like Bryan has said, an amazing kind of transformation in that I carry myself a little differently now, not least because there's a bit of stone less in me to carry around, but I carry myself a little differently now. I'm a little more confident in terms of the physicality that I have, and it was an amazing experience. There is something really primal about putting yourself in the ring opposite another guy, and A, punching him in the head, and B, him punching you in the head, that teaches you a lot about yourself. And it's no coincidence that there have been so many movies or plays or stories about boxers, because there is something about, fundamentally the drama of sport, but particularly about the fighter's preparation and going out there on the big stage, and what actors do as well. There are striking similarities there. So it's an interesting thing for an actor to do. And then, you look at so many actors who have been massively successful over the years, coming from a boxing background, people like Liam Neeson, even from here. There are similarities there, and I think the two, the boxing and acting, have gone hand in hand and kind of helped each other along.
So you're the grandson of Ray, and you're the son of Aonghus. Was there a parallel of coincidence there that you're a third generation actor and struggling third generation boxer on the
Absolutely, there's no denying it. I mean, those parallels are there. You can't get away from them. It has been very strange for me to play this show in front of my dad, with him in the audience. Has been strange because obviously the relationship between Dan Coyle Jr. and Senior is not the greatest father-son relationship of all time. So I had to kind of talk him down after going, Dad, this is just a play, this is not real life, this is not based on you. But yeah, there are those parallels there. I mean, certainly for me as a performer, theatre maker, I'll call myself a theatre maker for today. As a theatre maker, the issues of dynasty and destiny are things that interest me, what we inherit from the generations that have gone before, what we can choose to take with us, and what's inflicted upon us. And so that was one of the main themes that I wanted to look at in Fight Night. I mean, people talk about it as being, this boxing play, and it's hugely physical, and it is all of those things. But fundamentally, it is a play about fatherhood and about families. It's about Dan Coyle Jr. dealing with the relationship back to his own father, and indeed Dan Coyle Sr. and his father that had gone before, and also Dan Jr. looking at the next generation of his own son who's now come along. It's very much it's a family drama that just uses almost boxing as a metaphor, nearly, to kind of to explore the challenges between the two of them in that relationship.